right. Oh, there she is. Oh, boom. How
Hey,
are we doing? Happy Transformational Tuesday, Ellie. How's it going?
happy Transformational Tuesday to you too. Travis,
Yeah.
I am so good. I've had quite a few people today because it's evening for me. So I've interacted with quite a few people saying, "Oh, how's your day going?" And every time I've said, "It's so good. It's so good. It's really good." And I actually mean it.
I love
So,
it. All right. Well, give me one reason of why your day is so good. We'll start with a little gratitude.
okay, good. I like it. Okay, one gratitude today, I will say, oh, do you know what? I actually got to interact with, so I work for Charlton
Yeah.
Athletic Football Club in London, and
Shout out to Charlton.
shout out to Charlton. If anybody's tuning in, say hello, or even if it's later on. But nearby where we train, there's a community trust with little kids, little girls that are training. And I went and had a chat with them today because I have a top secret mission for them since we have our first game this weekend. So I
Yeah.
can't tell you what that is because it's top secret,
Oh,
but
of
they got to
course.
be involved. And the joy that I got to witness today just took me to a whole new level. And I am grateful for that because kids are a blessing. So that will be mine.
I love it. That's good gratitude. That
Thank
is
you.
good gratitude. Very
Not our
good.
usual coffee. I don't have my coffee to give
Of
gratitude,
course, right? Boom, right there. There's the coffee.
but you
Oh,
did it for us.
always grateful for my coffee, right? So that's the easy random one. And then we've got a special guest today. Look at this guy.
Oh,
Mako has decided to join the live. He was just pathetically just kind of like at my feet wanting me to snuggle. So I brought him to the live today. Yes.
oh,
Uh,
mystery guest.
yes, our mystery guest Mako today. And of course,
I
I'm
love it.
hugely grateful for him because my wife is out of town. She's in Poland. You and I were just talking. So I become his number one once the number one is gone. So,
Absolutely. So
so
you're
he,
number one and you're soaking it all in right now.
I take it all in. This is my baby. This is my baby. And so I'm always grateful for my baby spending
What
time with me.
what a gratitude. Okay. That is the best way to start the live.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. I feel like we always end up running out of time because we get into such good conversation. So I'm going to introduce the topic and let us get straight to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so for those of you tuning in, neutral thinking is something that is the foundation of a lot of the work that we do. It really is something that applies to our daily lives, both professionally and personally. So I think there's always an opportunity to revisit neutral thinking, revisit the framework, define neutral thinking, kind of give you a good understanding before we dive in. And then Travis and I think we're pretty good at sharing some personal stories. So we want to give you insight into our personal and professional lives and how we apply it consistently, because it is not just a topic that we talk about to others. Like,
No.
I preach it
No.
because I use it consistently, and I need it. So it's great.
It's the blessing and the curse at the same time, Ellie, because it's like we teach it, we preach it, we share it all the time, and then you find yourself in a situation where you want to just be angry or frustrated or have a pity party for yourself, and you're like, oh, I've got to get neutral, right? I've got to practice what I preach. Now I say that as a joke because that is the gift. The gift of the more you talk about something, the more you get the opportunity to actually live it and experience it. And like you mentioned, Limitless Minds is really, this is one of the foundational principles, right? That Trevor Moawad, our co-founder, has helped popularize and clarify. And this idea of shifting to neutral, being able to find a neutral mindset, which really isn't in the middle of positive and negative, but it's more of sort of a layer a layer of thinking that, it's really hard to be negative and neutral. You can be positive and neutral. And actually, as I say that, Ellie, it's like I can be really frustrated and discouraged and angry and still respond neutrally. So the more I talk it out right now, when we think of it's really, we talk about it as a third way of thinking, but it really is. It's a deeper layer that we can put over our positivity or our negativity, and it still allows us to take effective action. In fact, I think we have the working definition, Mari, that we use for Limitless Minds, our rock star producer, Mari. And there it is, right? So when we talk about neutral thinking, it's a thought process that focuses on the objective and concrete facts without judging or grading. When you think about it, Ellie, how do you sort of process it for yourself?
So the way that I think about it is I used to be the person that was like, well, just be positive, just think positive. And I thought that that was the solution to everything. But then I almost realized that there was sometimes for me personally, like a toxicity that came with positivity. If it was a really tough situation and I was going through a lot of adversity, sometimes that didn't actually feel all that positive. So I still was experiencing negativity in the way that I was responding or perceiving the adversity that I was going through. But then I thought the solution was, well, just shove some positivity on it because what everybody told me to do. And then I'm overwhelmed with a mix of emotions. And actually, the positivity feels quite fake because the situation doesn't feel all that positive. So for me, when I discovered neutral thinking through reading Trevor's book, It Takes What It Takes, I realized that actually it's okay if I'm not positive about something, because getting to neutral means I can acknowledge that, the situation is kind of tough, but shoving positivity on top of the negativity isn't the goal. It's reducing the negativity. And if I can do that, the positivity might naturally be there. But either way, getting to neutral allows me to then respond while accepting the emotion, but responding the way that I would want to respond, and not letting that emotion control me. And that to me was pivotal in my day-to-day operation, because it was just realizing that positivity might not actually be the answer, but being neutral could help me respond to any situation, no matter what happened.
Yeah, I like how you said that. You said accepting the emotion, right?
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of times when people talk about, or people hear neutral thinking, they think that it's denying the negativity or denying the emotion. And that's like a really, really key clarification. Like, well, we really can't control our emotions and our feelings, because that's like, or even our judgments, right? That is a very sort of like authentic response to information.
Yeah.
But like you said, you can notice them and you can accept them, but before you take action is when you want to have that space of shifting to neutral, which is, I am angry. I am upset. I don't think this is fair. I don't want to deal with this again. And I accept that I have to deal with it. And so as I respond to it, how can I respond in a way that is sort of in alignment with my goals, with my intentions, with my purpose, and have the action be a reflection of your ultimate goals instead of an expression of your feelings, judgments, and emotions.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And I think, like you said, it's that acceptance versus just trying to, what was the word that you used?
Denial.
Deny. Yeah. So instead of trying to deny what I'm feeling, because then I'm moving forward with an overwhelming probably amount of emotion. And then if I'm moving forward and I'm going against my intentions or my values, or I feel like I'm not in control of my actions, I'm just living in response, then I think that's when we really find the struggle, because we're living in like resistance through the denial. So I think that for me is where the struggle really comes in. That's the after effect of when we're not able to get to neutral, which is therefore the importance of it.
Yeah, it's funny. I was I'm still in my St. Louis University training shirt right now, and I was at a training session today, and there's a player who is coming back from an injury. Right, he's back fully training, but he's not feeling fully fit. Right. So when I went up to him today, I said, "Hey, how you feeling today?" And he goes, "I feel like," and then he said, "Not a great word, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I totally get it." Right. I'm like, "Yeah, I totally understand." And I said, "And tomorrow you'll feel less like that." And he's like, "Yeah. And he's like, step by step, right? And I was like, "Yeah, man, that's it, right? You had the best training you can have today. And tomorrow you're going to feel a little bit better, and you're going to have the best training you can have tomorrow." So we're just focusing on what we can do today, right? So, it's like, I'm not giving them a hard time for being frustrated or discouraged. Like, of course you're frustrated and discouraged. You know what your ability is, and you can't be there right now because you've been injured. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally normal to feel the way that you're feeling.
Yeah.
And what are you doing? You're focusing on having the best training you can today. Yeah, that's your next right step.
Yeah.
And so
So,
being with our emotions and feelings, but then choosing, well, what am I going to actually do about it? Well, I'm going to do the best I can today.
right. And so that to me, like, this was actually a personal example that I was going to use, is like, my back has been bothering me quite a bit, and
Yeah.
it's been limiting for me, and sometimes it gets frustrating. And so through that, I think I have to, similar to your example, I have to acknowledge what I'm feeling. I might be frustrated, I might be upset sometimes, or discouraged, but I'm going to show up and I'm going to try and do my best with what I have. And I'm going to remember that I have to focus on the facts. What is it that I do know? And that to me can keep me grounded. And I think that's part of getting neutral, is what are the facts? What are the objectives
Yeah.
that you have that you can kind of go off of? If I start worrying about, well, what if this happens to my back? And what if it gets worse? And then what if I can't do this a couple days from now? Or if I just focus on the things I can't do, then where is that going to lead me? It's probably not going to lead me in alignment with the life that I want to live and the person that I want to be. But if I can acknowledge those facts, I'm being realistic. Patrick Norris in the chat, exactly right. Neutrality can feel real because we're not going to
Yeah.
sugarcoat it sometimes. We might just have
Right.
to acknowledge the facts that are tough facts, but then say, hey, this is the best that I can do. I'm going to focus on what I can do. And tomorrow I'm going to show up again and do the same thing and take it day by day. So, yeah, completely agree there.
It's interesting. You mentioned that idea of you start to think ahead of, oh my gosh, all the negative things that are going to happen. Right? You start catastrophizing, right? You wake up and you got a pain, or I actually, again, this is why like neutral thinking is so day-to-day normal. I had an athlete text me today, hey, I just want to let you know I'm having a tough day, dealing with an injury today. And he goes, what if this keeps me out for months? And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Right. And I was like, hey, I totally, again, I totally get it. I totally understand the frustration and how you're feeling. Let's handle today. Right. Let's see what we can do today. Right. Let's go in. Let's get checked out. Right. Let's do what we need to do. But before we allow ourselves, our mind, to go down this rabbit hole of worst case scenario, let's just pause and go, okay, hey, what are the concrete facts that I have today?
Yeah.
Let's deal with it, right? And let's go get information. We're not denying it. Let's go get information. Let's find out. Let's get get a diagnosis. But before we start, going worst case scenario, let's just go, hey, okay, you're noticing something.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take the next step without having to jump too far ahead. And it's interesting that you're dealing with your back. I'm dealing with a weird foot injury for the last week. I'm like, which again, super discouraging, super frustrated. There's really no cause that I know of to it. And I've been having to be neutral with myself all week and just saying, hey, what's the concrete fact? Your foot is really uncomfortable. And so, all right, I'm frustrated, I'm discouraged. And what can I do about it? All right, well, I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna give it some rest. I'm going to try to stay off of it. I can adjust, my workouts. I'm, practical steps. I've been trying different shoes all week to find a shoe that is more comfortable, and just being in that proactive sort of how can I be in collaboration with this current reality instead of being in denial or opposition to it.
How can I be in collaboration with this current reality? I like the way you put that.
Yeah.
And for those listening in, I think, Travis, if we use your example with your foot, the way that you've chosen to approach that by getting to neutral, I think that could have gone a very different way. And we can experience that. You could have started to dwell on it, got upset about it, got annoyed, tried to force it and go for a run or something and make it work. Tried to, or not tried to, but just gotten annoyed with it and started taking it out on other people, or getting yourself more and more worked up where it turns into that snowball. That circumstance could have gone a very different way. So it's not the circumstance that necessarily changes. We can't always change the circumstance, but we can choose the way that we approach, accept, work in collaboration with it, and then decide to move forward. And that's the difference. And that is what builds momentum.
Yeah.
So that's the choice we have. That's the reason why we practice getting to neutral. So then when hard times come, hard circumstances come,
Yeah.
we're more likely to have the default of trying to get ourselves to neutral.
Yeah. If we can be neutral with the little things, it's going to give us a good chance of being more neutral with the bigger things in life. I mentioned my wife, being in Poland. So Sunday I dropped her off at the airport, and I'm in St. Louis right now. So there's 2 terminals in St. Louis. We thought she was in one terminal. There was more traffic than usual. She's like, I wish I would have left 15 minutes earlier. I'm like, okay, all right. But here we are. I drop her off at the terminal and I say, hey, I'll take my time leaving. If anything happens, give me a call, right? I'm not even out of the airport. And she calls me. She says, I'm in the wrong terminal. And I'm like, all right, I'm looping around right now, right? I come, I pick her up, and we get in the car and we have to drive to the next terminal. And we're looking at the line of cars, and she's looking at the time, and I can tell that she's a little anxious. I'm feeling her anxiety. And I didn't do the thing where I'm like, hey, it's okay. Everything's going to be great. You're going to be fine. And it was almost as if both of us were acknowledging, hey, she's a little stressed and a little anxious right now. And so I don't need to try to fix that. But I can be with her as she's anxious and stressed. And I think I said something along the lines of, hey, whatever happens, like, hey, we'll be able to figure it out. Right. Like, even like, hey, well, I'm not saying you're going to miss your flight. If you miss your flight, hey, we'll figure it out. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, let's just focus on what we can do right now. I dropped her off. I'm driving back, and she texts me like 10 minutes later, I'm at my gate. I was like, awesome. Right. But whether it's just these little day-to-day examples, we could have gotten to a match where she's frustrated with me, and you can just kind of let your emotions sort of spiral.
Right.
But when we just kind of like, all right, this is what it is. We are in the wrong terminal. Yep. Can we change that? No. All right. Is there a long line of cars? Yes. Can we change that? No. What can we do? Stay calm, take the next best right step, and just be with it, right? Be with it. Our room tilter, Krista Ryan, be with versus try to fix. This is so important. Yes.
Absolutely.
And so hard to do, right, Krista? Right, Ellie, being with instead of trying to fix.
I feel like this has been spoken about a lot, but same with neutral thinking. I'm going to say it because I think the more repetition, the better. Also, my son.
You are, you know what? I've been appreciating that you've been becoming an angel step by step.
Thank you.
You're enlightened.
I shift and I'm like a little higher. Pretty soon I'm going to be up here at the end of the call.
Yeah, we're leaning into it, right? You are enlightened.
I'm embracing that my smile is whiter than it's ever been. No, but so for me, the skill that comes in handy the most to get me to neutral or to be able to be with that circumstance is breathing.
Yeah.
It's breathing. It's something we do all the time. And for me, it's just the simple, like, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And I can think of countless times where if I'm running late for something, or I feel a bit unprepared, or whatever it might be, I breathe through it so that I can sit with it and accept it, focus on what's in my control, and maybe just talk myself through it as I'm breathing.
And what I love about that is when we allow ourselves to be with it, and we start to talk ourselves through it, that process, it usually it slows down that catastrophizing thought, right? And we start to look at things like, okay, for example, right? And I had my own flight. So I was flying yesterday. I flew to Chicago back and forth yesterday, and I'm on the flight back last night, and we're not taking off. And of course I start to get, like, my thought wants to go to, oh, what if they cancel the flight and you got, all this different stuff. And it's like, yeah, you just go, okay. And I'll often do the, what if my flight gets canceled? All right, well, I'll get rebooked on another one. Well, what if there's no more flights out tonight and you can't take off until the morning? Well, then I guess I'll stay the night in Chicago and I'll fly. Right. And this is like, you just start to work through some of these fears and worries. And it's like, okay, if this happens, is it going to really be that horrible? Well, no. Does it stink? Yeah. And so, and it's almost like, as we can just de-escalate our own, instead of like, oh, I don't even want to think about the bad thing happening. Well, why not? Right? Think about the bad thing happening. Would you be able to work through it and still be okay? And the answer is usually, well, yeah. I mean, I've gone through more difficult things than this. Yeah. Okay. Well, if it does happen, you'll still be fine. Right. I can still deal with it, even if it does happen.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned breathing and as a good tool for you. Are there any other things that you like to do, Ellie, that helps you maybe be, how about be neutral ready? How about that?
Neutral ready.
Neutral ready.
I think so. This is along the lines of an example, like I guess more of a professional example, something in a work environment that example that I've used that I think is related to this that helps me be neutral ready. So I work in an environment where I'm constantly around a lot of other people, and sometimes I might have a circumstance where I feel like my values are conflicting with someone else's.
Yeah.
So, for example, since I'm more in a sporting environment, if I see a player and I feel like they're not really working very hard, like they're not giving their full efforts, for me, work ethic is really important. And I might look at that and go, that doesn't sit well with me. I don't understand that. I don't relate to it because work ethic is everything. And I might take a perspective, like kind of put some glasses on, put a lens on of judgment towards someone else. So instead of judgment towards myself and my own emotions, I might experience some judgment towards someone else.
Yeah.
And so when I think about making sure that I'm neutral ready, it's being self-aware of how I'm perceiving someone or something, because I don't know, they might have had a really tough day and they might be feeling some niggles, or they may have not gotten any sleep last night, or I have no idea. If I don't approach that with empathy and understanding and remove my judgment, then how am I going to be able to meet that person where they're at, which is crucial for my job, but I think it's crucial for all of us. And so it's that self-awareness piece. It's constantly being able to kind of check myself as I'm perceiving a situation or a circumstance or a person, and making sure I'm showing up neutral for them.
That's huge. I mean, that's empathy, right? That's compassion, that's grace, right? I mean, if you take those three qualities right there, are we going to have the ability to basically shift to neutral and get to neutral if we are operating from a standpoint of compassion, grace, and empathy, right? Because if we're offering that to other people, the person that cuts you off on the road, if instead of returning that anger and frustration back at that person, are we able to pause, get neutral, and like you said, like, wow, what might be going on in their day today, right? What could possibly be going on in their day? Or, wow, have I ever like, accidentally cut someone off? I'm like, yeah, of course I have. And like, okay, can I have grace? Can I have compassion? Can I be empathic? And then obviously, if we're able to do that with others, and then obviously the big question is, can I be compassionate with myself? Can I be empathic with myself? Can I be grace? Can I give grace for the emotional response that I had that I'm not proud of, for what I said to one of my kids that I'm not proud of? Or do I swallow the poison twice and beat myself up for the mistake that I made and double down on the negativity of it? And I just, I love the gentleness and the grace that comes with being kind to others. It's a lot easier to be kind to ourselves.
Travis, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to close this blind really quick because I can't see you on my screen anymore.
Yeah, well, you're going blind. You need to close the blinds. I will, as we say, I will string it out in the entertainment industry. I've been on the stage many a times, LA. I can still hear you. Yeah, where I've had to, you gotta vamp, you gotta stretch, and I'm going to be neutral about it. I'm going to be neutral. I recognize the facts, and we can see her again. Not quite as enlightened, but we can see her.
Ooh, I think I just got sunburned from that one right there.
Yeah.
That moment.
Well, Ellie, where you are, you're kind of going into the evening part of the day. I'm still sort of at midday. So for people who are watching, what's something that you do maybe at the end of the day or in the evening that helps you be, neutral
Mm.
thinking ready? Yeah. Anything that you like to do at the end of the day?
How about this? I'll hit evening, you hit morning.
You got it.
Deal?
You got it. Got it.
Okay. So what is it that I do in the evening to help? What was your question? To help get to neutral?
Yeah. Just to help be neutral ready.
Be neutral ready. Okay. I think it's having a bit of quiet time
Yeah.
before I go to bed or before I even like brush my teeth or anything. It's that still couple, even if it's a couple minutes, even if it's 1 minute, because I think I'm somebody who likes to be busy and my days tend to be busy, whether I plan for them to be or not. So sometimes my emotions and my thoughts don't really catch up to me until I allow the space
Yeah.
for them to.
Yeah.
So I think just having an intentional time to pause at the end of the night is my best way to be neutral ready when I'm like going to sleep, but also be in a really good place when I wake up. So I'm not carrying things over to the next day because I haven't allowed myself to process and also accept them. Because if I just go and go and go,
Yeah.
I don't even know how I'm feeling during the day. I've not checked in with myself, but
Right.
I know I'm still carrying it. So that is my way of giving myself time to process. And it
Yeah.
might be writing things down, but it's at
Yeah.
least that moment for me is huge.
Yeah. So just some stillness time, some
Yeah.
reflection, some decompression.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me in the morning, it's sort of just it's the beginning of that, right? It's waking up and being still and having time to be clear and maybe
Yeah.
setting some intentions for the day, right?
Mhm.
How do I want to show up? I don't know what's going to happen today, but
Mhm.
regardless of what happens today, I'm going to focus on being patient. I'm going to focus on being compassionate. I'm going to focus on being empathic and gracious. And
Yeah.
so if I can be intentional, with Limitless Minds, right, we're always talking about having intentions, task to task, as well as throughout the day. So on the micro and the macro level, we can set intentions for ourselves, which then just gives us a bullseye to aim at as the day goes on. And then I love if we combine our two, and then at the end of the day, I can reflect, pause and be quiet and think about, well, hey, these are my intentions at the beginning of the day. How did I do?
Absolutely. And I think the thing to remind everybody of is they can feel like little things and sometimes they can just go by the wayside. But if you think about it, it's 0.001% of your day.
Yeah.
But how much of a difference can it make because we're being so intentional about those small moments that allow us to get to neutral? So I would
And
encourage us to try and pick up even just one of those small things. Give
and
it a go.
and little things over time, Ellie, become transformational, just like Transformational Tuesday.
Oh,
There you go. There you have it. There you have it. That is your Transformational Tuesday.
okay.
Ellie, from the sunlight to the shade, we're blessed to have you.
Like,
I know tomorrow, come back for Workplace Wednesday tomorrow. We do know that Rune Tilter Hubert is going to be here and special guest to be named later. So come on back tomorrow at the
yes,
same time.
absolutely. It's going to be great. Workplace Wednesday. Travis, it's been an honor. It's been a joy.
Always a
Everybody,
privilege. Yeah.
have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too, Ellie. Thanks, everybody. Patrick, Krista, Martin, have a great day, everybody.
All right.